You're watching or listening to Desert Planet Picks on the Strangers in Space Network. Hello, I'm Simon, and as I say, this is Desert Planet Picks, and I'm here with a very special guest who's been very, very naughty and is about to be shuffled off to a desert planet. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah, my name is Tim Dorney. I am the keyboard player in Republica, and I also engineer, produce, do programming for EMT. I've done some mastering and stuff for Friction, and I'm also in a band called Tin Gun with Mr. Peter Steer and Mark Truman of Sign Star and Tenic.
You missed that one band, which is how I first came across your work.
Flowered Up, probably.
Which was Flowered Up, yeah.
Yes. I was also the keyboard player in London's answer to the Happy Mondays, Flowered Up, in the early 90s.
Amazing.
Yeah, late 80s, early 90s, that was.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing, because your career goes over, well, I hasten to say so many years, but you probably dip into quite a few people's kind of memories of some of the best music that was ever made in this country, as far as I'm concerned.
Well, thank you very much. Yeah, I've been pretty lucky. I got the Flowered Up job because I used to do work with Andy Weatherall, the DJ. I helped out on some of the early remixes that he did, and he put me in contact with them. So I've also got to work with him as well over the years.
I mean, that's another name that's passed into legend, as far as I'm concerned.
Yes. No, unfortunately, no longer with us, but.
No, this is it. Just before we shuffle you off to this planet, I was going to ask you. I mean, our main connection with this podcast. This was all based on the idea of talking about Doctor Who. That's the podcast that we've run. Yeah. We've just had our 10th anniversary of recording the podcast, so we've been going a fair while now. And obviously, that's all based around the idea of Doctor Who. One of the things that occurred to me is that people involved in Doctor Who, I imagine from 1963 onwards, it would never have occurred to them that decades later, over 50 years later, they would have still been, people were still talking to them and they're doing conventions and still getting work from the work that they did back then. Does that kind of relate to what you do?
Yeah, I mean, if you look at Ready to Go, for an example, the Republica hit, that was 27 years ago, and we're still it was just used on a TV program in the States called Yellow Jackets. We've just had another sync request come in for a casino change. It's still the gift that keeps on giving, like 27 years down the line. So.
Am I right in thinking it was used on was it used on a trailer for Captain Marvel? Was that right?
Yes, yeah, it was on the trailer. They didn't actually use it in the film,
but still, that connection is
that was great. Yeah, I wish they didn't let us into the premiere, but I wish we could have gone.
I just wanted to thank you because the amount of effort you've gone to just to have a decent backdrop, because that isn't a virtual backdrop, that is actually your studio. Isn't it?
That is actually this is where the magic happens. Yeah, I'll give a quick pan around. So more keyboards over there, bass guitars, Euro crack. Yeah, more synths, more outboard. I'm a big sucker for old delay ones.
I mean,
I like all the old dub stuff.
Yeah, oh God. Yeah, I mean, just for the synth heads out there, can you give me some names of keyboards you've got sitting around you?
Yeah, well, this one here is a Mini Moog Model D, 1972. Just above that is it's a Korg MS-20 Mark I that used to belong to Ad Into X. There's an RE201 Space Echo there. A Juno 60, it's got modifications in it to make it a Juno 66. That's just come back last week and is sounding incredible. That is a Yamaha CS5. That's a mixer. That's a Yamaha CS15. An Access Virus. That's a controller thing. I don't really use that. Then my love of Tysco synthesizers, which became eventually Kawai. That's an S60F. It's the single oscillator one. I've also got an S110F, which is the dual oscillator version. That's away with our tech being fixed at the moment. And then this big beastie down here is the Tysco SX400, which is a 4 oscillator poly synth. There's also an MS2000, a Moog, multi-Moog, a TB303, a JX8P, an SH101, a Waldorf Pulse, an E&M Spectrum, which is an old 80s kit synth, a bit of old Yamaha rubbish, but it makes some silly noises I still quite like.
Yeah, yeah.
And then down here, which haven't been reinstated yet, there's an Udo Super 6 and a Behringer Deepmind 12, which is what I've been using live for the first 10 gun gigs we did recently.
Wow. And without stepping on the toes of a certain other podcaster, Mr. Ware, in Heaven 17, have you got a favourite amongst those?
I've got two. The Mini Moog, which I never got Mini Moogs for years and years. I never had one for donkey's years. And then about 7 years ago, a friend of mine rang me up and said, I've got one here for sale, very good price, but it's not working properly. And it turned out it's a 110 volt Moog that he'd plugged into 240 volt mains and plugged the thing up.
Wow.
So I was like, it's so cheap, I'm going to buy it. It's like it was as an investment, and gave it to the wonderful Kent Spong, who completely rescued it. And that is one of my favourites. It really is, the Mini Moog, and also the Kawai SX400, the poly one. It just sounds gorgeous. Doesn't sound like anything else I've got.
I just think it's amazing. I was only yesterday. I was fiddling. I got given an old Mac G3.
Yeah.
An iMac, one of the nice coloured ones, you know.
Yeah. Is it a blue one?
Because of the 4x3 monitor, I thought, do you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to watch Doctor Who on it, as it was intended, if nothing else. But just looking at some of the, when people get these, they replace the hard drives with solid state drives and stuff like that. And just getting that old tech working again. I mean, I switched it on, it's working perfectly. It was arcing a little bit somewhere, I don't know where, making really interesting noise. But I just thought 22 years and that's still running.
Yeah, no, they still go. I'm at the moment, if anyone out there has got probably a G4 running OS 9 and Cubase VST 5.2 still working, I'd love to hear from them, because I've got a load of old song files from years ago that I can't load onto anything now.
Oh, what? Okay.
I'd just love to get the audio bits back out of them. So if anyone's got one out there, then let me know.
Well, get in contact with us at the podcast, and we'll pass it on to you, Tim. That's amazing. Anyway, these days of what I was getting to is these days of sustainability. I think that's the way forward. I think getting this old tech up and running and bringing it up to date, is an amazing thing.
No, keep all the good old stuff running. I mean, I never sell anything. That's my main problem. I just even last night I was at an auction buying foot pedals. So I'm still an addict for it.
Well, I mean, sustainability is going to serve you well on this desert planet, because
it will.
I'm sorry to tell you, Tim, but you've been a very, very naughty boy, and you are being sent. No one knows the reason why. That is secret, unless somewhere in the back of your head you might know why you might have been sent to a desert planet.
Yeah, probably the Sean Maguire remix I did about 1994.
That would do it. That would do it. Mind you, I did notice that one of your old bandmates, I'm trying to think, was it Andy?
Andy Todd, yeah.
Yeah, he was partly responsible for S Club 7's Shine.
Reach for the stars. Yeah, he was he's one of 7 writers, I think, on that.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, you may well meet him on the desert planet at some point.
Yes. He won't talk to me, but we don't get on.
Well, as part of your you're going off this desert planet, and we've given you a list of things that you can pick to take with you to help pass the time. You're going to have plenty of fresh drinking water, so you're not going to worry about that. And you'll have protein tablets to keep you going. But it does, that then mean that frees you up to pick some other things. But anyway, the first thing I'm going to start with, I was wondering which film you've chosen that you would take with you. If you had to, you're only left to watch one film for your time there, what would it be?
Well, I struggled with this, but then, because there's lots of films I could watch again and again and again, but then I thought, what's the film I will probably watch the most? And it's Pressburger and Powell's marvellous A Matter of Life and Death with David Niven from, I think it was 1940, 41, something like that.
Okay. You'll be interested to learn that this, I think, out of all our episodes, has been chosen more than any other film.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me.
But for all the right reasons, don't get me wrong.
It's, I mean, technically it was like years ahead of its time with the dipping in and out the colour and the black and white. No, I thought it was an amazing film, really well done.
Yeah. Can you remember the first time you saw it?
I was probably about 10 or 11, I think. It was just on one afternoon, and I was just smitten with it. Loved it.
Interestingly, I may have watched it exactly the same time. I mean, it was probably on every year, but I seem to remember it being the sort of film they stuck on in the afternoon.
That's it. Yeah, it was probably a Sunday afternoon or something like that.
Yeah, or sometime during the school holidays.
School holidays, yeah. Around that time, I'm sure. But I was always a big David Niven fan anyway, and I read his books not long after that as well, which I found really quite interesting.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
The autobiographies.
The Moon's a Balloon is his first one. That's a great sort of. It harks back to the golden era of Hollywood. Say, but no, great film, great actors.
Yeah. Oh, it's just magical. It's magical.
Yeah.
And I think JR, our main man here at Strangers, I think that's his favourite film as well. So.
Oh right, I'm in good company then.
You are, absolutely, totally. Okay, second thing, moving swiftly along, which food, luxury or however, would you choose? You can eat as much of it without getting sick. Let's put it that way.
In that case, it would have to be Toblerone, I'm afraid. It was that or 12 bites. I couldn't decide which.
What was the second thing? 12.
12 bites, yeah.
I know the ones, yeah.
The little one, the sort of smashed up ones they put in packets, in bags. Yeah, I'm a bit addicted to them. But okay. Toblerone's is my penchant, unfortunately.
Well, if you manage to make it back to Earth, if anyone wants to put a smile on your face, then they need to buy you some Toblerone.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, nice big one.
I know the one. Yeah, the huge ones.
Huge ones. Yeah,
the ones where the pieces are about 2 inches big or something. Yeah. And to go with that, which drink would you take with you?
It would have to be Ease Up IPA on draft.
Okay.
It's EMT's fault. They got me. I used to drink all those horrible old lagers, the ones that just taste of chemicals to me these days. But Tony and Emma got me into drinking IPAs, and now I'm an absolute sucker for them. I like Ease Up, all the sort of Brewdog ones, all those sort of ones. I'm an absolute sucker for the stuff. So.
Yeah,
I'd have that on draft.
It's a funny thing. I don't drink like I used to. If I do drink, I drink mainly wine now. But I'm no good with. Like I couldn't tell the difference between expensive or a cheap wine at all.
No, I sort of know what I like, but yeah, wine. We're sort of rosé and white drinkers.
Yeah.
But the missus loves the rosé, the lady petrol as we call it.
Yeah. Okay. So IPA. Wow. Yes. I wouldn't know what you're. Do you know what? I haven't touched beer in a very long time. I got to as I was getting older. I was about to say as I was growing up. That sounds wrong, doesn't it? Drinking at those points. I started on lagers and then moved on to cider because I just started getting really bad hangovers.
Yeah, that's why another reason for getting off the horrible beers like Stella and 1664 and can't even.
Oh, is there
a stomach in there?
Oh, is that really the case? Is it a case of if you can find the right choice of beer, you can avoid all that stuff?
Oh God, yeah. Oh, these ones are all the IPA one. They've still got a bit of fizz in them. They're not the flat sort of need a knife and fork to drink them ones. They've normally got a sort of the hops they put in and make them quite fruity tasting.
Nice.
And no, they're really refreshing, lovely drinks. I get on with them a lot. There's the troop around the corner, will tell you.
Yeah. Okay, let's do. And I was nicely surprised because I asked you to be on this podcast before. I just assumed that you would probably have an awareness of Doctor Who, even if you weren't a big fan. You'd have an awareness.
Yes. Oh yeah.
How does that work within? Have you got memories of watching it when you were a kid?
Oh God, yeah. There was hiding behind the crack in the door from Daleks and And Cybermen, really. Well, it would have been Daleks then, because I was born in '65. So.
Okay. And who's the earliest Doctor?
The earliest I can remember is Pertwee.
Okay.
I might have seen it before Pertwee. That was the one I really liked. That was religious watching in our household. My father used to love it as well. The whole family used to be in for that.
Yeah. And can you remember? Was it Daleks? Are they the things that stick in your head?
Yeah, it was Daleks, Cybermen, the sea monsters, that sort of thing. Bessie, the yellow car.
Yeah. Well, you know the Sea Devils are back.
That's it. Sea
in
Devils,
a week's time.
Oh right. Oh,
back in a week's time on Easter Monday or Easter Sunday, one of the two.
Oh, good lord.
Yeah. You never know.
Past, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that was all filmed on the Sea Forts, wasn't it?
That's right.
In the Solent.
Yeah. So you don't remember any black and white Troughton?
No, I don't. I might have seen it, but I don't remember it.
No.
I might have been just a bit too young to remember that.
So your memories are in colour?
Yeah, I do have colour memories, yes.
Colour memories. That's all good. Well, it's nice to know you're aware and you're able to answer, because I did ask you what your favourite Doctor Who story is. I mean...
Yeah, it's a David Tennant one, strangely.
So that over the classics then, is that a memory thing, or you just generally think it's...
No, I really enjoyed the David Tennant reboot, and the Matt Smith to a certain extent as well. I thought they were really well constructed, really well written. When Russell T Davies was at the helm, it was. I watched every single one of them.
Right.
At that point, but my favourite one is the David Tennant one, where they're sort of in air taxis, and he's just jumping around between them, like so there's different people in each taxi, and the way the whole thing was put together was brilliant.
Gridlock.
It was Gridlock. That's it.
That's the one.
Yeah, I just thought it was so well put together and such a great idea. So it really stuck with me, that one.
The thing that I always think with that story is it's got that kind of 2000 AD aesthetic. It could have been a comic strip.
Yeah, it could very easily be. Yeah, but it would work as a play as well, I thought, and I just thought it was very well done.
Yeah. You know that Russell T Davies is coming back.
Yes, I do. Yes, good.
So, I was going to say, was that good news for you?
Yeah, I've been since Jodie took over. No, I'm not interested. I haven't watched a single. I watched the first couple, I think, and that was it for me. I was out.
Yeah. It's
I just thought the stories weren't there, and she wasn't up to. She did a valiant job at it, but no, sorry.
I don't think you're on your own. I think
no.
I think there's things to be drawn from it. There's been some really great stories in there.
Yeah.
But speaking personally, I've said this before. It's not resonated with me.
No.
In the same way.
I'm not being I don't mean that in a misogynistic way at all. That the Doctor should be a bloke. It's just no. It just didn't resonate with me either. No.
So it's an actor thing as opposed to
I think so.
A gender
thing. Personality rather than the gender thing. Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's understandable. But anyway, it's one of those shows that changes, and
yeah,
it's fine to step out of it and then step back into it, isn't it? So
exactly. Yeah. No, I shall definitely be getting back into it, I think. I'll be giving it a whirl anyway.
Yeah, excellent. Well, check out the Sea Devils and see how you feel, because the series has felt slightly different in the last couple of seasons. So you might be pleasantly surprised. You might get some good out of it.
I'll give it a whirl.
Okay. All right. Well, let's move on from there. This you've already said that are you a bit of a reader?
Yes, I am a reader. At the moment, well, these days actually, I've been getting into audiobooks because I work as a decorator 5 days of the week. So I just generally if I'm working on my own, I'll just stick the headphones on and just have books rattling on in the background all day long. That and podcasts, Mr. Ware and the like.
Yeah.
Tape notes. I don't know if you come across that one as well for musicians. That's
what's it called?
Tape notes.
Okay.
It's John Kennedy, the DJ from XFM.
Yeah.
And each week they get a band or a couple of members of the band and the producer, and they go through an album. They break down 3 of the tracks, how it was recorded. They sort of start at a demo stage and play the different stages of it through it. And there's some amazing stuff in there. Really, really good.
Awesome. You've just reminded me that when I was doing, we had an extension built on our house, and when I did the decorating myself on a fair amount of it. And when I was doing my wife's office, I listened to the whole of Howard Goodall's History of Music,
All right, yeah,
the audio book,
yeah,
and I think it was about 5 hours worth. And it
yeah.
took
I
you
mean,
all the way through from, almost like prehistoric times, right the way through all the classical composers, then right through to Lennon McCartney and all that stuff.
yeah.
And
I'll give that a
that's
whirl.
it is amazing. Yeah, it is amazing.
Yeah, I
So
mean,
yeah,
autobiographies tend to be for me at the moment, music ones, but
yeah.
yeah. But the Bobby Gillespie one nearly put me to sleep. It was 14 hours of him just droning on in a
Okay.
very Mogadon voice.
My recommendation is Johnny Marr's.
Yeah. No, I've read both of them on the Kindle. So
Oh yeah, okay.
yeah, very good books.
The audio book is particularly good as well.
Oh, I'll give that a whirl again. Actually,
Yeah, he's just got a nice voice, I think.
some of them are great. Have you heard the Beastie Boys one?
No,
It's
no.
brilliant.
I watched the thing on
Slate
Apple
Show.
TV, the documentary.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
audio book is brilliant because they get loads of different people in to voice it,
Okay.
like famous actors, all sorts of people. And it's really interesting. It's a really interesting listen. Really well done on that one. Best audiobook I've heard, I think.
Oh wow, amazing. Steve Coogan's is good as well. I enjoyed
Yeah,
that one.
that's on my list. I've actually got that on the list to do this.
And dare I admit it, only because Adam Buxton.
Oh yeah, I love
did-
Alan Buxton. His podcast's great fun as well.
Yeah, he did a really lovely thing over Christmas. My wife surprised me with a signed copy of his book,
All right.
and we went to see him live. And then because of COVID, he didn't do any signing afterwards. So she wrote to his agent, and he did a very lovely thing of sending back this personalised copy of
Oh,
his
cool.
book.
Was that one of the bug gigs?
No, it was where
just-
he was kind of, it's all a book promotion thing because
Oh,
it kept
right.
being delayed because of COVID.
Yeah.
And he came to Bristol, and we went and saw him. And like I say, I was determined to get a copy, signed copy of his book,
Yeah.
and couldn't do it. So my wife wrote to him, and he sent me a book, and there's a lovely message in it.
He strikes me as being. I've never met him, but I'm sure he's a really nice bloke.
Yeah. And I've kind of held back because I want to get the audio book as well, because I've got the book there, but I'd like to hear him read it.
Yeah, no, I would definitely, because it'd be a very interesting read.
So, totally. Well, that brings us to which book would you take to the desert planet?
Well, I read an awful lot of science fiction in my youth. It started when I found Isaac Asimov's Foundation in the school library and read that, and then that was it, right, straight into the Foundation trilogy and on with that. Then Gibson, I got very into Gibson for a while, but my favourite writer is Neil Stephenson and his book Cryptonomicon, which is, God knows how old it is now, it's got to be 30 plus years old, but it's a big thick wedge. But I really, really, really enjoyed that. It's right twisty turny tale with many different layers to it. I haven't read it for many years actually, and I wanted to see if there's an audio book of that as well, because I did listen to a couple of the Asimov ones, but as audio books they sounded a bit Dan Dare.
Yeah.
they didn't quite hold up.
So many times audiobooks either succeed or fail purely down to the choice of reader.
They all had American accents, and it was all very. It sounded sort of like 1950s sci-fi put on the radio rather than anything like that. But then the books are that old. I mean, it's 50 years old at least. So
I think I'm trying to think what the name of the genre is. There's a genre where it's based on real events but with a fictional twist.
Yeah.
Because that's, as far as I can tell, that's what Cryptonomicon is, isn't it? Because it
pretty
features
much, yeah.
Alan Turing.
Yeah, it's all about code breaking, and it's set basically in the Second World War with code breaking and how they broke some of it. But I mean, what I like about his books, like the Diamond Age as well, he takes sort of historical periods and writes a science fiction book around it. So the Diamond Age is based on steam being they've taken steam technology to its its crescendo sort of thing.
Yeah, yeah.
But I really like the way he does that with the books. It's not too far in the future. It's not trying to future cast. It's twisting what's there.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, so that book's the one that's going to keep you occupied, because you're going to have to read it a fair few times.
Well, it's a nice big thick one, so
okay.
I haven't got it in here actually at the moment, but no, it's a beast.
Amazing. So, as well as the books and the Doctor Who episode to watch, because you're going to be watching them over and over again, you do realise that.
Yeah.
Which person, and you're not allowed to take anyone from your family or anything like that, but any person alive or dead, who would you take with you to the desert planet?
Well, I'm cheating a bit. I'm going to say Ray Mears, because it's just going to be an easier. He's going to keep me alive. He's going to keep me fed. He's going to keep me sheltered, and I'm sure he's got a few good stories to tell.
So, have you kind of picked him because of his CV, or is he
more of his CV than somebody I'd like to spend a lot of time with? Yeah, I just thought I'd better cover my arse better cover my arse on this planet. You never know how hostile it's going to be.
Yeah, this is the thing. Okay, that's brilliant. Okay, you're a musician and a very good at one at that. Very talented. Which piece of music? Because I gave you the option of picking an album, or even a whole career or something like that, or just a song. So which one did you pick?
I picked Uncertain Smile by the version that's on Soul Mining.
Okay, so that's the version with the Jules Holland.
That's the version with the Jules Holland piano solo, which I think is the most stunning piece of piano playing I have ever heard. I mean, if I could come anywhere close to ever achieving that, I would.
He did that in a couple of takes or something, didn't he?
I think it was one take or something like that.
With one bit of dubbing at the end is what I read. That
wouldn't surprise me. But I went to see them I went to Brixton when they played there a couple of years ago, and the guy that he's got playing keyboards for him now absolutely nailed it. He just walking around the stage a bit, stretching his arms, and gets behind the keyboard and just nails the Jules Holland solo. In fact, it was mind-blowingly good.
So is it note perfect, or is it?
It was note perfect. Yeah, DC Collard his name is, and it was just incredible, really good.
As I say, I did a little bit of homework because you were kind enough to give me your choices first. I was going to fly blind and see what you told me, but I thought I'm just as well to do a bit of homework. But it's quite that Soul Mining album. I mean, the first thing is I was taken aback by the producer, Paul Hardiman, is it?
Yes.
Yeah. Right? But this is the man who produced Krista Burr's Lady in Red.
He did.
I mean, that is the weird thing about the music industry, seems to be that you've got the luxury as a fan to be as pompous as you like and say, oh, I don't like that because he's done this or that. But within the industry, I mean, everyone.
But he did also do the Beatles and Lloyd Cole, so he did have pedigree for Paul Hardiman.
The Beatles.
Yeah, he was originally in house at Abbey Road, so
okay.
He worked with Jeff Emerick.
Right, okay.
Well. So he started at Abbey Road as a tape op for the Beatles, and then moved on over many years. But no, he did a great job with Lloyd Cole. I thought Rattlesnakes was a great album.
Oh yeah, so I mean,
Uncertain Smile is my favourite album. It's just the way it ebbs and flows, and I just love it as an album. It's my favourite record.
I mean, some of the people. I mean, you look at these things and you see who's involved. Thomas Lear.
Yeah. Kamel Hines.
Yeah.
Oh, there's all sorts on that.
Jim Thirlwell.
Yeah.
And that brings to mind stuff like some of the mixes he did for Nine Inch Nails and people like that. And
well, I didn't realise it was one of the first Ecstasy albums. It was like they wrote. It was most of it was recorded when they were off their heads completely. It was a little bit like, what was it, 1985? I think it was released. So it was a very, very early Ecstasy album.
Is it 83? Even earlier, wasn't
83, yeah, it could be. Yeah.
83. I mean, what I remember from that album, I always go on about, is the fact that on the cassette you got a load more songs.
Yeah.
Than you did on the.
I had the one. I think my vinyl came with an extra album that had those on, or it came with an extra 12 with it.
Oh, okay.
at the time.
Yeah.
I seem to like all the bands that have begins with T and 2 words. So the Talk.
Yeah.
They're all my favourites.
Oh, okay. I mean, we're hoping to do an episode on Talk because with our podcast, because we've all got not so much fed up with talking about Doctor Who. We just thought we've got lots of interest. We'll start talking about some other things. So we're doing some music episodes, and I'm pepping everyone up for our Talk episode, because I'm as far as I'm concerned, they're
genius, absolute genius.
Totally.
Yeah,
totally.
Colour of Spring onwards, I was just absolutely hooked. Especially the weirder they got, the more I loved it.
yeah, this is it. Wow. I mean, I could talk to you about
God, yes.
what there and what have
I've
you.
I've ordered the Hollis, the latest Hollis book. I've got the old one, the beautifully printed, like hardback like thing. But there's a Hollis specific one coming out. I've ordered that up.
Yeah. Well, just briefly, one of the reasons the reason I know you to talk to is because I did a lot of the artwork for EMT.
Yes.
One of the bands that you produce.
Absolutely. And for Tingun as well.
Tingun as well. Yeah. Big stuff. I mean, for me, that Talk artwork as well.
Yeah, it's brilliant. I mean, the book is it's beautifully, immaculately printed. And I think there's a book of his artwork as well. I can't remember the guy's name now. But I think there's a book of like his artwork outside of that as well that's really worth seeing.
Yeah. It's funny how these all connect. I was going to say to you that when I saw you live playing with Flowered Up at Glastonbury, I looked a few weeks previous to that. There was a South Bank show special on the Pet Shop Boys that I watched. And it was their artwork that got me into wanting to do album artwork and graphic design.
Oh, was it Mark?
Yeah, and I looked to my left, and Mark Farrow was a couple of people away from me. So that's how I remember. It's where it's this whole kind of interconnectedness that you get, intertwingularity, which is one of my favourite words, where subjects intertwingle with each other.
Yeah.
Is the fact how funny it's gone full circle. I'm talking to you when I was stood next to Mark Farrow, who's the reason pretty much that I went to graphic design college.
Well, he did work for us, Mark Farrow. I don't think he did any Flowered Up. That was Dave Little did those.
Okay.
But, no, we definitely worked with Mark Farrow on some Republica stuff, I'm sure. And
that makes sense.
Yeah, the guy called Paul, who used to do all the One Little Indian stuff.
Yep.
Can't remember his surname either, but yeah, he did a couple of covers for us.
It wasn't to do with Designers Republic or something like that, was he?
No, I can't remember the name of the company now. He was based down in Battersea somewhere, or was he Camden? I can't remember now. But no, he used to do all the Bjork covers and all the generic One Little Indian stuff.
Gorgeous stuff.
He did the Pet Shop, but you know the Pet Shop Boys one where they had the sort of morphed spinning head.
Yeah, Liberation. That one.
Yeah, he did that.
I've got.
Was it Farrow did that? It might have been Farrow did that actually.
I think Mark.
Yeah, because he sat them down and scanned them up.
Right. Interestingly, I've got a load of stuff come out of storage, and I've got the T-shirt with those spinning heads on it.
All right.
Again from '93. It's that year.
Yeah,
it's that year.
It's a good year.
It was a good year. It was. Blimey.
Actually, I was pretty unemployed in '93. We were just getting Republica off the
ground. Tim, this has been amazing. You've got one thing left to answer, and I think that's probably linking up quite nicely. Which photograph would you take with you to the desert planet? Something to keep you company and to
remind me of life.
Yeah, basically.
I'll see if I can find it on here. Actually, hold on, 2 seconds. I should have prepared this really. Hold on. And there it is. Right. So this is a picture that our drummer took of us at Republica playing at Victoria's Festival 2 years ago. We played the main stage there. And it's basically about 50,000 people. Oh, it's not focusing. It won't do
No,
it.
but you get the idea. Yeah, you do get the.
You can't actually see it, but there's like, oh, there you go. You can see it better now. It's just an absolute sea of people as far as you can see. It's a hell of a picture. Oh yeah, we're very proud of that one.
And that was only 2 years ago.
Yeah, it was 2 years ago. We did Victoria's, which is a great festival. It's on the seafront at Portsmouth, or next to whatever they call it, Southsea. And it's 80,000 people, but no, it was a really good day, really good bands on it. So it's one of the much better festivals in this country. I'd recommend it to anybody for the weekend.
What makes the better festivals then? What is it that?
Choice, I think. I don't. The ones that just have sort of 1 or 2 stages, and just not. We do with Republica. We do a lot of council-funded type ones, if you see what I mean, or the council have helped out. And some of them can be great, but it's just if you find yourself playing at 10 o'clock on a Sunday night when it's chucking it down with rain and everyone wants to get the kids home, it's just they're not great. They just don't have the facilities. But for me, like a lot of choice, like a good fast bar that you can get drinks at quickly. Yeah. That sort of good food choice. Just lots of things to go and see and do, rather than sort of concentrating. So I do like a poetry stage or a comedy stage. Yeah. To while away the hours, because some of these things, I mean, if you're playing at them, if you're sound checking, you'll turn up at them at 10 o'clock in the morning, but you won't be playing till 10 o'clock at night, so you've got to keep yourself amused somehow. Yeah, I completely get you. Tim, it's been brilliant. I'm sorry I've got you here for all the wrong reasons, which is that basically you didn't have a spot. Backdrop. You didn't have a. You didn't have a spotless career, and therefore you've been sent off to a desert planet. It's harsh, but I've committed musical sins over the years. The next DMT album for one of them.
Which I hear they're working on as we speak. They're writing as we speak.
I have the first 3 tracks with me now, actually. I've got Tony and Emma coming in Friday to do vocals. So that's my bank holiday weekend. Cheers, chaps. Comping Emma's vocals.
Tim, it's been brilliant. Thank you so much for doing this for us.
Oh, thoroughly enjoyed it. It'd be good to see you soon.
And well, maybe we could get you back to talk about Talk or anything you'd like at some point.
Yeah, anything.
Brilliant.
Gob on a stick, mate.
Aren't we all? That's why we do podcasts. Right. Take care, and thanks for doing this.
My pleasure, Simon. Thanks very much.
Cheers.
Bye-bye.